So we got a surprise today when we got some interesting news that's going to impact a lot of us in general aviation, but also in business aviation, commercial aviation as well. When we learned that Jeppesen and ForeFlight have formed a strategic alliance to help bring some new products to general aviation. And I've got folks from ForeFlight and Jeppesen here joining us to talk about that. So Tyson and Scott, welcome.
Thank you.
So what's this mean? Let's just take it from the perspective of the average GA pilots. What's this mean? What are the opportunities that come out of this alliance?
Yeah, so just kicking it off, one of the things that customers in all markets have asked us for years is, when can I get Jeppesen charts and data in ForeFlight? And that's one of the things that we're announcing as part of this strategic alliance, and it does a number of things for pilots. One is, immediately in the next version of ForeFlight, they're going to see Jeppesen navigation data, obstacle data, and terrain data automatically appear in the application. So for those customers who use things like obstacle avoidance or warnings or hazard advice or synthetic vision, an upgrade to the navigation data that they get in the application. And then one of the other things we're announcing is the ability to not only purchase Jeppesen terminal charts and data subscriptions from the ForeFlight website, but if you already have a panel subscription for your aircraft, you can now connect that subscription with ForeFlight and enable the viewing of those charts in ForeFlight to give you more options and more value out of the things that you're buying from either ForeFlight or Jeppesen today.
So there will be if I want the Jeppesen terminal charts in my ForeFlight, there will be an extra charge for that, but the obstacle data and that sort of thing, the global mapping data, that's all normal ForeFlight subscription.
That's right. If you're even a basic user of ForeFlight, you're going to get access to a very high quality worldwide global navigation, terrain, and obstacle set.
Right. So Scott, what does this mean for the flight deck users?
Well, I think for the flight deck users, I think what it is, it gives us a broader breadth of functionality from the application. It brings the innovation and the time and the speed that ForeFlight's innovating and bringing things to market to our customer base as well. Tyson's right. The customer demand and interest in doing this has been around for quite a while, and it's only getting bigger. And so finding a way to bring the companies together to bring a better, faster, more innovative product to market just made sense.
And so for flight deck has a big footprint in the airline world, and that's where mostly that's going to stay, right?
That's right. So the Flight Deck Pro that the commercial market knows from Jeppesen today stays the same. It's now leveraging the strengths of what ForeFlight and Tyson's team brings in terms of development, some of the innovation and speed that brings there. But it still remains the Jeppesen charts and the key functionalities of what we've done over the last 80 years of our existence of understanding really how to do that and do it well, brings that to the bear. But it does so in a way that with Tyson, what his team does is it makes it bigger, it makes it faster. The speed that they're going to notice right away, the performance of the application, is going to be a huge step. And then I think they're going to really appreciate how much faster we're bringing roadmap items to the market as well.
Right. That presents a few challenges though from the airline world, because trying to get really innovative products like ForeFlight is known for bringing out on practically a monthly basis, it seems like, into the cockpit of an airliner, that's kind of a big deal, and they don't move at that kind of pace. How are you going to deal with that?
That's right. So we're historically on a every 6 month or so basis in terms of an update for the commercial market. We're going to have to stick with that. Doing anything much more rapidly than that, they just can't process it fast enough. So there's that initially to worry about, the speed at which the app comes to market. So we'll meter that a little bit for the commercial market. The other thing we'll do is we work very closely with our customer advisory boards to make sure that we're bringing the right things at the right time, at the right speed over from the ForeFlight mobile app or other things, and bringing innovation into that app. Yeah. So we'll meter it that way as well.
Right. So how does this conversation start between the two companies?
Well, Jeppesen's leadership came to ForeFlight, and we've known each other for a long time, and we sat down and had a conversation and said, there are things that we both do extremely well. Both of our customers have demanded either Jeppesen data in ForeFlight or ForeFlight features in mobile flight deck, and there's power in partnership. And it's the right time to do that. And are you guys interested? And we said absolutely. And we launched off on this project not long ago, actually, to start working on the integration and advancing and setting a roadmap for the future of flight deck 4 as well.
And so I think it was you, Tyson, who said earlier about the relationship between the companies that I hadn't really thought about before. Both started by pilots. looking to solve problems in general aviation. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that was when we sat down and thought about what are some of our common values. We really wanted to make sure that if we struck out on a partnership, it was something that we say is a partnership with purpose, right? And if we trace both of the roots of the companies back, they're started by pilots who were passionate about aviation, who were aviators, and who wanted to make a difference. And with Captain Jeppesen, it was figuring out what the hazards were and the navigation paths that pilots needed to take, and led to many years of innovations. I mean, the invention of the instrument procedure, right? And ForeFlight was a similar story. Two pilots really were frustrated with how long it took to get data, look up weather, get a briefing, and happened to be the right place at the right time with this mobile revolution, and are just really passionate about building products. So at the core of the DNA, both companies are pilot-founded and very focused on creating experiences for pilots that are a joy. And many pilots may not think about it. When they're shooting an approach, for example, how much work and effort has gone into qualifying and QAing and ensuring that every foot and meter in the data that guides us safely down to the airport, how much work goes into that. And Jeppesen's data set is best in class. And they go through a tremendous amount of work sourcing data from every host nation and put that in a package that we all depend on. And we've done the same from an application functionality perspective, is what are things that we can bring to customers that make flight planning and flying easier and safer. And I think we've done that. I remember reading about how in the safety accident statistics, in-flight weather incidents are going down, right? So we think that we're both coming together to continue that spirit of building tools that are focused on the pilot and can just make their lives in flying that much easier and safer.
So the average ForeFlight user, when they fire up the next version of the app, how's it going to look different? What's going to be doing that?
There won't be any noticeable differences in the application. They'll get an application update. They will get a notification to download new databases. And when they download new databases, they're now going to have charts and obstacle data and terrain data that's powered by Jeppesen. So there won't be any noticeable difference from the user perspective. They will see, however, very accurate depiction of airspaces, vertical bounds on a global scale, right? So something that hasn't been available to ForeFlight customers before. But in the first release, we're just moving the data assets into the application, and in the release after that, you'll now be able to link your Jeppesen account, purchase a Jeppesen subscription from ForeFlight, and see terminal charts in the application.
And then after that comes en route?
And then after that comes en route. So that'll be a unique capability of ForeFlight, is not only will you have access to the terminal procedures, but you'll have access to the en route map as well. So creating a full solution globally for the BFR and the IFR pilot.
Now on the Jeppesen side, it's a little more challenging in that you really have to be careful from a training event standpoint with the airlines, that you don't introduce too many changes to flight deck that causes them to have to go through a lengthy training experience for the pilots there. What about that?
Yeah, so we're very conscious of the impact it has on the airlines and the individual pilots and how much training time. We want to keep, there's kind of a threshold around 2 hours, right? We're expecting that this comes through more as enhancements to the look and feel and this kind of the standard that they're used to seeing. So the training impact should be extremely small. We're very focused on making sure that look and feel, the route drawers and where the icons lay, the colors and stay the same. But the things within that app, as they look through, the feature set will get broader, and then there's niceties and adds on with how the route drawer works or how you can thumb through charts and select those things.
Right.
Not to mention the additional features that the ForeFlight edition brings as well.
So show us some of the things that you're working on regarding like the SIDS and STARS.
Yeah, sure. So just running through some of the basics. On the ForeFlight airport view, you're now going to see in the procedures area all of the different procedures you need: arrivals, departures, approaches. So a customer can come in, and once they've linked their Jeppesen account, they can view an instrument procedure. They can use our annotation feature, for example, to make annotations to the chart. They can send that to the map as well. And one of the things we're really excited about is Jeppesen over the past year has done a lot of work to really enhance SIDS and stars. In the paper-based world, where we were limited to the size of a sheet of printable paper, we had SIDS and stars that were not drawn to scale.
Right.
Well, now we're going to have those to scale, which means that we can put them on the map as well. So, for example, if I have an arrival here and I've annotated the path that we're going to take to the airport, I can now put that on the map. I can see PIREPs, for example, an icing PIREP in the areas here, and then I can overlay weather as well. So that's going to give pilots an incredible view of the speed restrictions, the altitude restrictions, for example, on a SID or a star.
And that's coming in the next release?
That will come in the 9.2 release early this summer.
Okay, so coming up quick.
Come on, quick.
Okay, well, thanks, guys. Appreciate you taking the time to share with us the news and explain to us the feature. It's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds over the next few months. But knowing how quickly ForeFlight is for turning products around, and Jeppesen with all the great databases and content that you have, it's going to be some really nice features that GA pilots are going to have available.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having us, and we're looking forward to it.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you.